Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the XoneBros. This is your positive gaming and Xbox community. It is Friday. We have had so much snow here.
Oh, it's crazy.
In the Mountain West. And I feel like today it's sunny and we're like... So the first 3 days of the week, everybody, every morning, shoveling, like not just shoveling snow, like feet of snow.
Yeah, it's been crazy. It's been absolutely bonkers.
Wild. And today it's like nice and sunny. The window's open.
Yeah. Well, with how much snow we've gotten here, so where we are, we're at like, I think like 300% pack snow in the mountains, which is 300% above normal, right? So
Yeah.
Last week, actually, I didn't mention this on the show, but I hadn't slept in like 40 hours because my neighbor was flooding because so much snow is packed in. And then last like Thursday, it got warm. And so,
it all melted.
And so I had to,
When I looked, he's kind of screwed.
my neighbor.
Yeah, because I look, because you're not flooding. So he just got a sump pump and it's like going off into the gutter. It works really well. I mean, that's a lot of water too. Is it still running? I know it was running like a few days.
It's permanently running. So he had his previous one, it was too much.
Yeah.
And I brought in the big boy. I got a big boy pump.
Nice.
Like it's like a fire hose. You stick that down, it's not like meant to be an automatic one. It's meant to be
I was looking at his property though, and so his backyard bumps up against 4 other people's yards.
Yeah.
Plus like a farm, basically.
Yeah.
And I was looking, he is like just slightly, like 1 inch below all the connecting yards. And I can see when the snow melted, it all just went
Yeah,
to
like
his
it was
house.
crazy.
To his house.
No, and
it has nowhere to go. He's not slanted. Like his driveway is long and barely slanted. So there's no runoff for him.
The house I grew up in, this is actually pretty funny. So the house I grew up in, it's like 3 blocks all go into my family's house where we grew up in. Like it becomes one big pool. My dad's an engineer, everyone. And so one summer, I don't know if I've mentioned the summer of digging, but there is a summer of digging. He had all his kids out there. It was like
in the backyard?
In the backyard because he engineered this whole automatic system.
Yeah.
And I can't even tell you. It works. Like I'm glad my dad lived there because it's the only thing there's like tons and tons of things we've trenched out and then it all feeds into like the street sewer, which I don't think he was supposed to do. Actually,
he just taps in. He just drilled in.
I don't know if I should mention this, but he actually like brought his street was getting like reworked and he brought the guys donuts and like drinks and stuff and said, "Hey, can you put this little pipe, and they were like, "Oh, sure, yeah, whatever." My dad's a smart guy. He knows how to deal with construction, right? So
that's funny.
No, but it was the summer of digging. I have stories.
We've had so much snow. Everybody,
it's crazy here.
Yeah, it's April. It's April. It's supposed to be like warming up. This is when you start going outside, so it's when it starts getting the 50s.
Yeah.
Now, for some of you, you're like, that's cold. No. When it's in the 20s and 30s all winter.
I was outside in shorts today at 50s.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So it just feels good. I do want to shout out chat. Thank you, everybody who is joining us live. AOG War Dog just celebrated his 29-month membership.
As an Arbiter. Nice.
As an Arbiter member. Thank you, AOG War Dog. He says, yo, how's it going, bros? 29 months, wow. And tack on the 2.5 years on Twitch. And that says something. You guys are awesome, like always. Keep it up, fellas. Thank you very much, AOG War Dog. For everybody, if you'd like to support us, if you'd like to become a member of the channel, youtube.com/X1Bros. We are actually...
I want to keep talking about snow, but were you going to talk about something?
I was going to say, we're actually missing Jordan for those of you that are listening.
Yeah. Jordan's
so it's just... We haven't had just a two-man
show in a while.
Two-man show in a while. Because
I think the last time was when I had my child born.
Yes.
That was over a year ago.
Yes, and we did it remotely.
Yeah, I remember.
We did it remotely. So Jordan, man, he'll be back next week, but he's just out. He had some family things. We're going to talk about gaming burnout. With Jordan and I here, what do we talk about? Spicy. I have experienced gaming burnout, although I'm not currently experiencing it, but Spicy has experienced it as of late.
Oh, yeah. I've experienced everybody's experienced some
and
sort of
if you haven't
burnout.
Yet, you will.
You will. I'm like in the middle of a good one. Yeah, it's rough, man.
Yeah.
When stress hits you, it's rough.
Before we jump into that, though, snow. You want to talk about snow?
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say what's so funny about how much snow we've been getting. I think you mentioned this too.
Yeah, it was me. I called you. Yeah.
Yeah. What's funny is, I mean, we've been having nonstop snow for months, and then I hear my kid yelling in the background. I don't know if you guys can hear him. He's funny. He's having a good time. But what's so funny is every day, every morning, you'd go out and see like the driveways being shoveled. At a certain point, everyone just said, screw it.
Yep. And so it wasn't just normal snow, because we've had, when Mark says consistent snow, it's been consistent snow of like an inch that you just use your shovel, no big deal.
Yeah.
The last 4 days, since really Sunday night, Saturday night, dumped like feet of snow. In fact, I think on Wednesday we got like 3 or 4 feet here, and the ski resorts got 6+ feet.
There's a resort, I won't name it, but it is so high that the lifts, it's higher than where your feet would drag on the lifts.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy, man.
And so so day one, Monday, everyone's out there in the morning, like big, using their snow blowers, just paving ways through, and everyone's out there like in the morning.
Yeah, what's up, Frank?
Tuesday, little less people.
They're like, oh, gosh.
Wednesday, nobody. Everyone's like, I'm out. I'm done. I can't. We'll just drive over it. And the worst, by the way, when you clear out your driveway and you clear out the entrance to your driveway,
and then the plow
comes by,
and
it's giant chunks of ice or something. You're like, oh.
You know what I do? You want to know what my strategy is? I have a fridge in my garage, and I have lots of drinks in there. It's like I've always wanted one as a kid, and I actually, speaking of which, I should go grab us some drinks. I will in a minute. But when I see that guy coming, I go and I grab a Gatorade, and I stop him. I say, thanks, man. And he always cleans it out now.
Oh, nice.
Be nice to those that serve you.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's
well, I'm lucky because the way I live on a street that like it's a circle.
Yeah.
And so they always go the way that I'm on the other side of the street.
Yeah.
So they're getting my neighbors and they're not getting me. That's great.
Bring your Gatorade, man, or something.
Yeah.
Something that'll. I learned that from my dad when he with those construction guys. You know.
Oh yeah.
Brought him drinks and stuff.
Oh yeah. Always.
I did that when I was having my house built too.
Oh yeah.
Just show up every other day and bring donuts and say thanks.
Yeah.
It's actually
that is nice.
Good trick to get.
That is nice.
You know, theoretically, you shouldn't need to do that, but I mean, you feel good doing it, and they do a better job, I feel, a lot of the time.
Oh yeah. So. Yeah. So let's talk about gaming burnout. So first we got to talk about what is gaming burnout. Gaming burnout is, so when I experience gaming burnout, it's when you want to play a video game and you sit down and everything seems tedious. And you're like, I want to play something, but then you go through your list, you browse the store, and you're like, you browse your library, and nothing.
You don't want to press A.
You. Yeah, you don't want to press A.
Yeah.
That's gaming burnout. Also, it could be that you're playing less. It could be that you have zero desire to play. It could be that you're feeling tired all the time, which is probably the number one reason, I think. It's number one.
Just being tired?
Yeah, just being tired.
Yeah, well, actually, I think good sleep probably would help a lot on a lot of aspects in everyone's lives.
It is true.
I am a person that has terrible sleep problems. I have a really hard time.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it. Yeah. I couldn't do it.
Yeah. Well, the trick is to be able to go to sleep. That's where I fail. If you can go to sleep, you're doing great.
It's true. It's true. Beast in chat says, sometimes I just quit a game when the intro tutorial is just too damn long and annoying. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, like Monster Hunter over here with this guy.
Dude. Well, see, that was part of burnout. I'm like too busy and tired to go through that crap.
I'm glad you recognize that because you gave that game a harsh, I wouldn't call it a review.
I still feel the same way. I still feel the same way.
I know, but I feel like I was defending it when I shouldn't have, because obviously tutorials suck, but and that one was, I will admit, it was 20 plus minutes of just reading.
Yeah.
Which is rough. But at the same time, there's so many things in that game you need to learn.
It honestly is my one complaint about Dreamlight Valley. That game's fantastic.
Oh, that game's badass from what I hear.
It's badass of the year. Had a recent update, but everything's reading. Like your entire company's voice acting. Voice act that bad boy.
Oh, you're in Disney?
Disney, yeah.
But no, I think Disney likes to min-max voice acting.
Yeah.
Because you see their movies and they have huge stars. They have, everybody big. I'm thinking of like Aladdin. I'm thinking of The Lion King. All these like cartoons where it became more about getting the celebrities than getting the professional voice actors, which sometimes they're one and the same, but they hit a point where they don't get professional voice actors anymore. It's only about the celebrity. They want that retweet. And that's only for that movie. Everything else is like somebody that's not the same guy, but they can pay him a lot less. I feel like Disney, and this is basing this on entirely no experience whatsoever with voice acting with Disney, I feel like they screw people to get the better deal.
Well, I do think Disney is not functioning at its peak at the moment.
I agree with that 100%. I don't think they've been functioning at their peak for like 10 years.
Oh yeah. But I would say I think this is.
But it's at an all-time low.
I think it's at an all-time low. Now some might disagree with me because I know like this season of Mandalorian people are really watching, and I'm when I'm saying they're at an all-time low, that means they will still have some decent content. But there was a time when everything Disney touched was gold.
Yeah.
And that is not the case right now. It's a lot of noise. It's almost it's like a lack of focus or a lack of standards maybe. I don't know.
I would say lack of standards. Lack of focus is in there. Lack of talent, I would say. Not necessarily celebrities, but on the back end. Yeah. I would say a lot of current generation photography, current generation writing. Current generation, a lot of things are slipping and suffering. I used to mention this often on the show. Everybody, I'm a professional photographer. That's what I do, amongst other things. And when I would watch in the old days, let's say 10 years ago, when I would have to watch a movie I wasn't necessarily interested in, I could focus on the cinematography. I could focus on the lighting. It's super fascinating when you're in that field that you can see what professionals that are very, very good at what they do. Movies that it didn't matter what movie it was. If it was a decently budgeted movie, they got professionals that filmed it, that did the audio on it. Some of the audio, it just blows me away. But now I can't focus on that anymore a lot of the time. Many times I can. There's still a lot of talent in the industry, but now it's a distraction. When you're having 7 cuts in under 3 seconds, people aren't holding a shot. The composition's bad. The lighting's not as good. The audio, it's interesting about the audio in a lot of these things. I watched something recently that I totally agree with, where they talked about how it's harder to understand actors in a lot of the newer movies, a lot of the newer shows, because the audio tech has gotten so good that actors and actresses they haven't had to learn how to speak clearly.
Pronunciation.
Because in the old 30 years ago, actors had to practice pronunciating and acting at the same time so the audience could hear them. Now they can just mumble through. They can just talk like this or whatever. And the audio still does a decent job at picking it up. And so a lot of shows, a lot of people are noticing that it's harder to understand and hear what they're saying because actors have not gone through that kind of training process, that learning process. Stuff. There's actually a lot of things. So
having said that, like Disney's Super Shocker says Disney's last movie Strange World was good, but the message a little off. I've not yet seen it, but like having said that, what was the one that was like Dungeons and Dragons Quest? That was such a good movie. That Disney did that, and they were like goat. What were they? They were like not goats, but the sheriff stepdad.
Oh, you're talking about the brothers.
The brothers. Yeah, that was a good movie. That was really good. That was Disney. What's the one with the Spanish girl as well? Takes place in like Cuba. This is very good. It's the guy that wrote Hamilton. Onward. Onward is the brother one. Yeah. That other one is very good. So Disney, it's not to say that they're not still making really good stuff, but it just feels like there's a lot more meh in between the wows. And whereas it used to feel like Disney was always wow.
Yeah. No, well, there's definitely still talent there. I'm not saying there isn't talent there, but there has been a flood of new, I would call it the new talent has not they have not gained an appreciation for how important certain aspects are. It's not also there's the aspect where it's not so much art anymore, more so feeling an IP or feeling a brand or regurgitating something from 20 years ago as fast as possible, as quickly as possible, as cheap as possible to make as maximum amount of dollars. And I know it's hurting the industry. It's hurting the industry as far as the artistic side of things. And it makes it, for me, it makes it really hard to have to sit down and just be like, why did they use that? Why did they do that camera? Why did they do that camera angle? When before it was more like, that is so the lighting in this shot is outstanding. It blows my mind how good films were 10 years ago versus how poorly they're being made today.
Yeah. Encanto, that's what it is. Yes, E. Jackson, thank you very much. So anyways, we got sidetracked there. Gaming burnout. If you're feeling it, if you're not feeling like playing games, Spicy has experienced that this past week.
Oh yeah.
Spicy, give me some tips.
It's interesting you say
on gaming burnout.
Past week. It's been a long time. So gaming burnout is when you mentioned it. You're sitting down, you're sitting at the screen. You have time to game at this point, and you just stare at the screen and you go, I don't know what to do. Should I even turn on? My Xbox hasn't turned on in like 2 weeks. And how sad is that?
Well, but you've been playing Destiny on the PC.
I have been playing on the PC, but
But that's like going in to do dailies at the moment.
Yeah, actually,
maybe that's a cause of your gaming burnout.
Maybe Destiny
the FOMO. You're FOMOing hard.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. No, I don't know. Having. I've recently had a kid in the last like 14 months ago, something like that. That has affected things quite substantially. Work has been more busy than it's ever been, and work is stressful, man. So gaming burnout. You don't even need to be consistently gaming to get that burnout. I believe it has a lot to do with stress in other areas of your life. Yep. It really, everything bleeds in. Stress is something that bleeds into everything. And when you're sitting down, I think it's stress involved. And so if we're going to talk about like how to deal with it, how to manage it, we've talked about this on the show several times. I think we had questions.
We've had a lot of questions on it in the past.
It really comes down to managing your stress a lot of the time. And this is going to sound stupid, everybody, but pay attention to how you feel. And if a game, like I've had to have this conversation with my nephews when they're playing Fortnite. If you're
angry,
if you're angry, this is coming from
but somebody. Sometimes you're just going to be angry. That is part of a game.
This is coming from somebody that has gone through controllers where I have literally squished them so hard that they no longer work.
Yes.
That controller, there's a controller back there on the shelf right behind my head. I'll pull it out in a sec. But this is you've heard of the spicy walks, where I get up and take a walk.
Yep.
If you pay attention to how you feel. If you're feeling terrible playing that game, play something else. Do something else. Start another hobby. Listen to music. For me, music is something that is...
It's your cleanser.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. It's so good. I play the drums. I recently pulled out my guitar again to start playing I used to play the guitar quite a lot, and I haven't touched it in years, and my kid likes it.
So your first tip would be to change it up. Do something else. Something therapeutic, which is for you is music.
Music is awesome. Yeah. I love music. Listening to good music.
Yeah.
Speaking of like talent in the industry, I think a lot of music nowadays. I feel like now I'm starting to sound like an old man. The music nowadays. There's good music nowadays that's coming out, but there's also a lot of regurgitated garbage that I think.
AOG
doesn't help anything.
Yeah, AOG in chat says work is also a big factor of burnout for him. Super Shocker says kids, they're kryptonite to gaming. Blake Densley in chat says I'm in gaming burnout right now, and it's going along with general burnout in life, and that's usually right along. So the busier you get, the harder. Maybe there's something stressful happening in your life. You may experience gaming burnout. Just taking a step back. First of all, don't force it. If you don't feel like playing a game, don't play a game. I think would be
pay attention to how you feel. That's what I was trying to say. That's a better way to say it.
And then Spicy's tip of just taking a break and going to do something therapeutic. One of my tips that has worked for me is sometimes it is just that I'm too busy, and I've been very good since January. Last year, I really was the busiest I've ever been and did not play that many games at all last year. Or when I did, I would not play them for very long. This year, I have really made it a goal of mine to set aside play time, and I've stuck to it. And it has, and now I'm back to loving video games like I used to, and playing them like I used to. And I'm back playing the video games that I love, like strategy games, real-time strategy games, turn-based strategy games. And so just setting aside time that is undisturbed and a space that is undisturbed where you can just game will go a long way, I think, in gaming burnout.
Yeah. So to re-say what you're saying.
Yes.
Set aside time to
set
game.
Aside time to game.
Specifically said from 7 to 8, I am playing a game. I actually liked what you said. A game you like.
A game you like.
That's important.
Yes. The fastest way to experience gaming burnout is, and I've done this before, it's why I think I hate Assassin's Creed so much. Because
hey, look at, I got this guy right there. There he is.
I 100%ed 3 of those games, and it burnt me out of that formula, and I just did it to accomplish this goal, which if that's what you want to do, that's great. That's what I wanted to do at the time. But it got to the point when I did it for like the second time or the third time towards the end where I hated it, and I was doing something that I hated, and it burnt me out of those styles of games as a result. So if you don't like a game, just don't play it. You don't have to. Just don't play it. That's even if it's for accomplishments. I know we have a lot of achievement hunters out there.
Yeah.
They're troopers, man. I don't know how you do it. But yeah, I've really, I think I've matured over the last couple of years to that point where in 20 minutes, if I'm not hooked to a game, I don't force it. I just stop. Yeah. Even if I'm 6 hours into a game, I just stop. Like if it's no longer hooking me, I'll just stop and move on. And I think forcing it can really cause you to feel gaming burnout as well.
Do you think that maybe that's because of how scarce games were in our upbringing? For me, I mean, I might be just thinking how it was for me, how scarce it was, and now we have so many games, but we have that like tendency to want to finish the game or play that game.
Because, yeah, I think so.
Because
I would imagine, like, for instance, the new kids, like, you're in 8th grade right now, you have so many options to game at your fingertips. Do they have that same drive to complete them, or are they more willing, do you think, to give up games quicker if they're not having fun anymore?
Here's the thing, though. I think that has a lot to do. That could be a double-edged sword, because I've seen the younglings, we'll call them the young gamers of the world, I've seen them not appreciate games as much because they have so much access to them.
Yeah.
They literally will play something, move on, play something, move on, play something, move on. And
that's a great point. That's a great point.
So, I don't know, I think it might be kind of like a double-edged sword when you think about that. But like for me, my dad hated games. Hated games when I was growing up. This might be just a huge spicy therapy session. Sorry everybody. But I remember, I mean, one of the reasons I'm so great at like building computers, understanding tech and stuff like that is because my dad came home at 5 p.m. every day, like from work, and I had to get home from school at like 2:30. install a game on his work computer. Basically, it's his work. He's an engineer
Uninstall it
architect.
and clear it off.
And this is in the DOS days, and that was like the Wild West of video games.
Sorry, real quick. I think you might want to hit snooze, or will it automatically restart our?
Okay, snooze. Okay. The computer was about to restart on my therapy session.
We've had that before.
We've had it happen.
So the whole podcast was going to go down.
Yeah, good call. I'm glad you saw that. No, but I had it was the Wild West of gaming on a PC. When you had DOS, you didn't even have Windows. I remember when Windows 3. I remember when Windows 3.1 came out and you had the mouse moving around. You're like, holy crap, that's amazing. And then you had Windows 95 where you could actually see video on the computer. But before that, there was in the before time, Windows and Apple OSs didn't exist. And you had to install the Sound Blaster, the sound card, which was the Sound Blaster for me.
/ dot
execute.
Yeah,
you had to cd ... go back to the root drive, find where the executable was, and then once you get that Duke Nukem in there or your Wolfenstein, you were gaming up until about 5 p.m. when my dad got home, and I had to fix everything that I broke installing that game. My dad had these keys. Oh, I love my dad, by the way. He's a good guy. But he was terrified. And
you're like,
he was terrified because he hated games. But you'd hear his keys coming down the stairs, and I think he would always come down to check his computer room and then go upstairs because that's where it was.
That is hilarious.
And I would be like, oh, it was like Mission Impossible where he's in the room.
You just get out right when he enters.
So for me, gaming was very scarce as a child, and now I feel like maybe I don't know, maybe I'm like, I gotta finish this. I gotta put in the time.
Yeah, but I like forcing it. I think causes gaming burnout. And that's one thing that I've learned is I don't have to finish it if I've gotten to a point where I'm no longer enjoying the story. Usually single player games is where that would happen versus multiplayer. But yeah, that's for me. Real quick, before we get to your next tip, McSpicy, Mr. McSpicy, I do want to shout out chat. Super Shocker gifted 5 XoneBros memberships to E. Jackson, Tomb Whisper, Andrew Cullinane, Soulfinder, and The Chosen Gringo. Huge thank you to Super Shocker. Everybody drop some BFFs in chat for Super Shocker there.
I also don't like being cut off in gaming. That's why, even though I'm extremely excited about Diablo 4 coming out.
No, it's true.
I did not play the beta because this is a terrible term, and I'm sorry, but I didn't want to be gaming blueballed. I didn't want to just be cut off.
Gaming cock blocked.
Yeah, I did not want that. I think of like stories of my dad and, like how he would come down and my gaming session would be ultimately cut off so fast. And I think of when I would be playing Warcraft, Tides of Darkness.
Oh, the wrong game to play if you have to turn it off.
Yes. Well, and then we only had one line. My friends that I would play with, they were rich. They had 2 phone lines.
Oh, see, yeah, we only had one line too. Yeah. Freaking rich kids.
I hated the rich kids. Well, I didn't hate them. It meant that it was always me that only had the one line for the dial-up. If people that are listening are too young to understand, in the old days, in the before time when the internet just started coming about, you had to get that 56K modem, which blew my mind when the 56K modem came out, because before that it was the 28, and before that it was like the 11. But when that 56K modem came out, you're like, oh yeah, this is speed.
Wow, look at this text load.
But you had to dial it in. This was before BattleNet. This was before everything. And then once you got connected, you could hear the then the computers had their mating sequence, and then they could talk to each other.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, Tides of Darkness, World of Warcraft. Let's do this. And we would be gaming. And then all of a sudden that everybody who has played this understands and knows exactly what I'm talking about. The dreaded pop-up that popped up and said searching for game, or I can't remember what it said, but it's because somebody called my house. And there was that when somebody would call, it would go beep, and then you could switch the call,
Yeah.
That beep ended games. And so I have, basically, this is a therapy session. I have grown up being cut off from gaming my whole life.
He hates it now.
I hate that.
He hates it.
When I want to
Don't give me an alpha where my progress doesn't carry over. No more.
So that's why, like with Diablo, I didn't play the beta because I didn't want to just play to level 25. I go hard and then I'm done.
That's funny. Let's read some Super Shocker in chat. Says, long go fetch games are not my cup of tea now and burn me out. AOG War Dog says, too much of one game can easily cause burnout. I tend to switch it up often to keep from burning myself out from a game or genre. Fitzy says, that's my struggle with Ghost of Tsushima right now. The game is great, but man, the go here, do this, then go here is tedious for him.
The fetch quests, they can be super tedious. That's why and what's sad about like open world games right now is that's kind of where we're at. It's like, unless it's good, unless it's done well, like Witcher 3, I think the quests are way more than fetch quests. I think.
Well, as long as there's a great story behind it. And that's what great side quests do. Like, I'm thinking of Grand Theft Auto 6.
5.
Yeah. 6 is not
6. I can't wait to play
Can't
that.
wait for that one. Let me tell you, I have some bad behind the scenes stuff I've been playing. No, 5. One of the side quests where you have the two old people that are obsessed with celebrities. It's just so good, and and essentially it is just a fetch quest, but it's not. It masks it because the story is good, and as you're going to do certain things, there's commentary happening. But if it's just go there, get that, and come back, MMOs are commonly do that, and there's no story there. But in MMO, it's about the grind.
There's a lot of collectionism
Yeah.
in a lot of these games now, which to
Not
an
bad
extent,
necessarily.
Yeah, to an extent, I appreciate, because sometimes I don't know what to do, but I want to game.
Yeah.
But I don't know what to do. Those tend to hold my hand a little bit and bring me, come on, Spicy, let's go. Let's go get this knife in this deserted location, desert of the world. And then if you get the other 3, then you get the achievement and all that stuff. Sometimes I need that. But when every game, and I always feel like every open world game does that. I will say Elden Ring was probably one of the reasons I liked it so much was it didn't have that as much.
Well, it's because wherever you went, there was an interesting new boss fight or character or world event that happened. And so it masks that.
Yeah, and there wasn't this Forza 5 map that showed you where everything was. There wasn't this Assassin's Creed blips everywhere like it sneezed.
So both Forza 3 and Forza 4, I completed the entire maps. Forza 5, I unlocked all the zones. That's it.
Well,
and that's an example of, I think, giving you when there's too much to do. Also, it matters at like where you're at in your life at that time.
And that's where I think you were probably in a slump of a game.
Well, in all reality, I only have so much space for an open world game, like one a year. And Forza is essentially an open world game.
Yeah.
And so
Horizon.
Forza Horizon, yeah.
Even the racing is, I mean, I don't think that game's actually about racing. In a weird way.
Motorsport is, yes.
But Forza Horizon is
not.
Probably more for, it's like achievement racing.
It's a collections in a car.
Yeah, you took
and
last place, but here, take some.
And the status, it's actually genius. That's right, because the status, like as you're driving around, is the car, your paint jobs, your custom paint jobs, your leaderboards.
Which I like. I love collecting things. The game that's on the mobile, Marvel Snap. I think...
Oh, I gave up on that.
I think that game...
If we go back, by the way, pause real quick. If we go back where I'm like promoting, I think like, this is the best formula ever, it got old really quick.
Because you can't get... Because here's the thing.
They hook you.
Their formula...
And then they kick you in the nuts.
Yeah. Their formula is fascinating because the game is about collecting the cards. That's what you're
playing the game to unlock more cards. Yes.
Yeah, it's a collection game that they gradually over time strip you from collecting the cards. Like the formula fascinates me because I am addicted to that game. I'm not addicted to the game. I'm addicted to collecting the cards. And I'm not talking about variants. I'm talking about owning the base cards.
Yeah.
Variants are
that you cannot purchase.
Yeah,
cannot purchase.
You can't purchase it. But you get to a point.
So how is that game making money off of you? Let me ask you that. Because they're
making money.
Because their battle pass sucks so bad.
But what their battle pass does is they give you Series 5 cards. Or card.
And
one card a month.
Doesn't it give you a percentage boost too? So you unlock.
I'm going to explain it
slightly faster.
For those that don't play this game, to understand what's happening, so you can kind of get like my issues with it. But how you play the game is you can consider it experience based, kind of, where you play, gain experience. Then with that experience, you unlock cards, you unlock other currencies to get variants of cards, etc. But the experience that you're playing, that you unlock through dailies, etc., those you get cards from. At certain experience levels, you're granted pool 1, which is a pool of pool of cards. There's pool 2 cards, there's pool 3 cards, there's pool 4 cards, and there's pool 5 cards. The pool 5 cards are extremely rare. I believe the chance to get them, you're better off doing a lottery and winning the lottery than actually getting those cards. And you don't unlock these pools until you're past, you have all of pool 1. Then now you're in pool 2, you're collecting those. You're in pool 3 collecting those. What they do is at the beginning, pool 1 and pool 2, like every 5 experience levels, you get the cards. That's just, you're getting those cards. Once you hit Series 3, it's like every 100. I'm now at 130 levels in between before I get another card, and I think it's literally, with their formula, impossible to collect every card. So here's a game that's meant to be a card it's fundamentally a card collecting game that they're not letting me collect the cards. And so how they get you?
So I stopped. I stopped because I got to at first I like it because they give you, and you're like, oh, this is a great formula. I love playing. They're incentivizing me to play, that I unlock more cards, and then I can do my collections, and I can customize my decks, and blah 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 blah. And then you hit that wall
where the wall gets worse. There's more than one wall.
Yeah. So I couldn't, and I was like, okay, just let me buy my cards so I can just play the game now.
Well, that's not how the game works.
And you just can't. And I actually would prefer being able to buy.
Yeah, well, I mean,
the cards.
All card games you could buy card packs, except this one.
Yeah,
it's really fascinating.
They're crushing it though. Well, I mean, the gameplay is fun
because what they're doing, they're only releasing one card they're releasing 12 cards a year, which if you take a game like Hearthstone, they're releasing 1,200 cards a year.
Yeah, so to put that in perspective, their seasons are only 1 month. So that's why there's one card a month, one season a month.
So the battle pass, So the battle pass, when you buy it's a $10 battle pass, you're guaranteed a card that is going to be put in the series in the pool 5. And so if you don't get that card, FOMO, if you don't get that card, you're never going to see that card again. So that's how they are making money, is because the diehards that play that game, that are in it for the collection aspect.
I wonder what percentage of their total player base, active player base, so let's say monthly active users, I wonder what percentage are the diehards, and I would be curious, that percentage is probably driving 80% of their revenue.
I would say 95% of their. Yeah, I would say that I would call you the casuals.
Yeah.
You would be,
because I've dropped probably $35-$40 on that game, probably.
Yeah. But see, here's the thing though. I love collections. And so I have, you guys have heard me talk about it on the show. I have fundamental problems with the game, like the actual game itself. I don't like the RNG. I don't like certain things. I won't get into it. But I love the collection aspect. I absolutely love the collection aspect. You know what's funny today too? I was playing it today to get my dailies, because it's a real quick daily. I mean, you go to the bathroom.
Yeah. That's when I would play most of it.
Yeah, that's your dailies. But they have a limit to the currency that gets you to upgrade the cards.
Oh, I do think that their currency is unbalanced, though. Don't you think it's way too high?
Oh yeah. But the fact that I ran into that, I didn't know that existed. I ran into that today. I got 2, and it's a low number comparatively to how much you need to put into it, but it's the blue coins or the blue rectangle coins or whatever. Those are how you purchase the booster, the card upgrades that give you the experience, blah blah blah. So they basically put a governor on being able to collect cards in like 5 different ways, and this one blows my mind. I see no purpose on that being limited.
They didn't make a game. They made a money printing machine.
That's yeah, but see here they knew exactly what. I don't. The game's okay. Like, it's okay. There are better card games, but I love collecting these cards. Yeah. Maybe because they are so rare. I don't know. But
well, the way they level up their cards is really good too. Like, and it does look cool. It's just enough to look at it.
You get to a certain point and it just upsets you. Like, I am upset at this game.
Well, that's why I stopped. So I don't get burnt out. Let's talk. Let's finish up here because we keep getting distracted on gaming burnout.
That's fine. Let's talk about whatever.
Spicy,
you want.
roll through 2 more tips if for someone doing gaming burnout, and then I'll roll through 2 tips.
Okay, so you sit down. You don't want to press play. There's 2 things that you can do, and that's I would say, text a friend, call somebody, say, hey, you want to hop on a game, or you want to go out to a movie, or you want to go out to eat, or you want to do something. I would say spend time with friends and loved ones, either on the game or outside.
I would say on the game is a great way to get into gaming, making gaming social. That's a good one. Yeah. A lot of times, for instance, I'm not even playing the same game as you and Jordan, but I'll just sit on and I'll play my game and talk with you guys.
And that's awesome. I actually really appreciate that because it's fun. We're just chilling. It's like the old days when we're at the arcade and we're just hanging out. I'm drinking a drink, and you're like, like before we're going to see a movie or whatever. Back when we were kids, it's kind of the same thing. I would suggest try to feel comfortable and okay with people being in the same party, chatting, that aren't necessarily playing the same game.
Yeah, and what I do if I'm going through a cutscene, I just say, "Hey guys, I'm a cutscene," and then I mute them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or I leave the party for a second, then come back in during a cutscene.
What I have done lately is it will get late at night. I'm just too tired to say goodbye, so I just leave.
Well, it's hilarious.
I've been doing that lately.
We've noticed.
We've noticed.
Or
I'll say goodbye like 15 minutes earlier, and then we get distracted, and then I just leave.
There are two types of people that do that, David. The young people and the old people. So I won't tell you which one is you.
Young people do it because they lack social skills. Old people do it because they don't care.
They know better. Yeah, you know what? These guys are family. I don't care.
All right. So socialization was what we'll call that tip. Give me your last tip here for gaming. Gaming burnout.
I would say when possible. This is going to sound funny. Go touch grass. No,
someone said that in chat earlier. Yeah, go touch grass.
Go just and if you want to do it with friends and family, go on a walk. Me and my wife just walked around the block before the snow stuff, and it was fun. Just go. You could combine that with meditation or however you want, but just go enjoy being alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Enjoy the sun outside. You could do it with, I've said this, you can do it with music, listen to good stuff, but go feel the wind on your face. Go enjoy yourself.
So I'm going to leave you guys with what has worked for me, and that is to try out different genres. So for instance, if I've been playing,
that's something I need to do.
If I've been playing, going hot and heavy on a Destiny, or Red Dead Redemption was a good example. Hot and heavy on Red Dead Redemption was playing it back again, trying to unlock all the achievements, got burnt out. I switch it up completely and I call it a palate cleanser game. That's like a Minecraft. Maybe that's too much for you. Maybe do some racing. I've recently gone back to my bread and butter, my core love games, the Civilizations, the city builder games, City Skylines. I've been back into Anno 1800 recently. I've really been jumping into, and you'll find, at least for me, whenever I try up different genres or genres that I know I always love, it reignites or rekindles that fire, I guess is a good way to put it. But yeah, and slow. Also, go to games if you're playing a fast-paced online game. Switch it up. Go to a slow-paced offline game, or vice versa. If you're isolated and alone, just crunching out single-player games, jump online and switch it up that way. Switch it up, and then last but not least, similar to Spicy's of going out and taking a walk. Don't be afraid to just accept. I have gaming burnout right now. I'm going to take a week away.
That is probably really. I mean, that's really good advice. Understand there's a problem.
Understand there's a problem.
Understand.
And accept it. Guys, can I just say as well, again, Anno 1800,
Yeah.
no,
that's probably, I mean, I love those games.
We need to do Civilization, dude.
Well, yes, we do. But are we going to go to the distance?
Let's go the distance. So what we need to do,
everybody knows
set
this
aside
about
a day. I can set aside a day every week where we set aside 4 hours solid.
4 hours is a lot.
Because where I get outpaced by you guys is you guys, I can keep up one night. I can stay up late one night with you guys, get a solid 4 hours in on a game. But then the next night you guys are going 8 hours.
Well, you guys, Jordan is an amazing individual.
Jordan, the man in particular.
I ride his train because he
knocks it out, and it's like I can't keep up with this.
Yeah, Jordan's crazy good.
But on those like slow paced, let's start a campaign. Let's do a group campaign, and let's do pick a day. From this time to this time, we go do as many turn. We do have to set those turn timers, though. There's nothing worse in Civilization, nothing more annoying, especially when you're playing with a first-time player, and you're like, okay, we'll set it for like 5 minutes, and they take the whole time, and it's not their fault, and you're like,
oh my gosh, no, what's so funny? Your brother. By the way, your other brother,
Jonathan.
Jono, he's so funny. Whenever I game with him, he's a great gamer, by the way. You want him on your team because he's very good.
Yeah. He's a natural.
Whenever I play with him, I feel I'm watching the latest season of an anime.
Because and he's not paying attention. You're like, bro, can you hit done? Yeah. And you hear it.
Yeah, because he has the speaker loud, and I'm like, oh, what's Levi gonna do now? You know. That Captain Levi's a badass. I literally can watch episodes with him. But I would also add, David, along all this, I think what all these pieces being put together on trying to handle and deal with gamer stress and everything is creating a balance in your life to keep you and everyone around you happy, safe, and well. So if you game too much, it's going to hurt family life. If you game too little, it's probably going to hurt your mental health.
No, play is important. Play is an important part of the human experience, and if you take it away, you suffer, actually. So play, you're a creative. This is actually psychologically proven. It's a psychological principle. Play makes you more creative. So if you take away play, you're taking away your ability to be creative.
I think one of the hardest things when I first got married and had my job with what I did and everything was for my wife to understand is something like that, because I always joke around she comes in and I'm playing Destiny in the middle of the day when I'm actually not really I'm taking
decompressing.
I have just had to, in the last 3 days, hit a deadline that creative deadlines are crazy.
Yeah.
Anyways, but creative deadlines, when you're, I don't want to consider art what we do at the level of Van Gogh or other artists. But when you're creating something that is visual, that has to be appealing, that has to be effective. I do a lot of graphic design for companies, for advertising, for marketing. And when you have to make something like that is good at a specific time, I would say you are creating commercial art. You're creating art in a way that needs to be in a certain aspect. When you add a deadline to that, the amount of stress that's crunched into that, that's what made artists go crazy, cut off their ear, Yeah,
but play. So there's a book called Essentialism by Greg McCowan, and he talks about like how play affects your mental state, and it's not that it can be taken too far, where Facebook installs an arcade and people are just in there all day and not doing work.
Sure.
No, so play actually induces creativity and ingenuity, and so you need that. So you need that as a part, and whether that's playing video games or being outside throwing a ball around, it doesn't matter. Like, but that's what play stimulates, which is interesting.
But so what I was getting at is just the balance of everything.
Yeah,
make sure your family is good. Make sure you are good. Make sure the balance is extremely important, and that will help everything when it comes to sitting down and being able to press A.
Amen. Also, if you're taking a break from games, one of the things that helps me when I've taken breaks from, so I've gone sometimes 2 or 3 weeks without playing a game during a burnout sesh, but I love listening to gaming podcasts still.
Oh,
and gaming news, and it keeps me connected. Or watching streams actually also has helped.
That's so because of my dislike towards how Twitch is as a company, I've stopped watching a lot of those streamers that I really like, but I tend to watch their evergreen content quite a bit on YouTube.
Yeah.
So I don't see live streams, but I see live streams.
Yeah. No, I know what you're saying.
They're old, yeah.
Let's take super chats here. Super Shocker wrote in with a super chat. Thank you very much. 669. He says, Burnout might be helped if game developers bring back the Game Shark, called the Game Shark Shop. And this would be a place to buy advancement perks. Dude, remember the Game Shark? My best friend had the Game Shark.
Game Shark. That was the rich kid that had the Game Shark. Holy cow, the Game Shark blew my mind.
And it had that manual with all the codes.
And it was like 355-769. I can just jump and fly Mario to the end of the level. Blew my mind. I was like fascinated. The first time, like when somebody says, dude, I got the Game Shark. You want to have a sleepover this weekend?
Yeah. You knew you were having a good time.
Well, I didn't know. Like the first time I experienced it, I was like, what the heck's a Game Shark? Sure, I'll come have a sleepover. Sleepovers are great. I go over there and he's like, check this out. And he puts it in, and Mario literally became a different character. You could make him just walk through all the walls. He's invincible, permanently the star ability. And I'm like, what is this mystery?
What is this magic?
It really was
magic, sorcerer.
A game genie. Like I could not. It blew my mind. How was that? How did they come up with that back in the day?
Well, because those are all developer codes, obviously. And so I imagine a developer got down and was like, what if we compiled them all?
But
sold them?
How did they like? So when you say developer codes, is that how they were like debugging the game? Like how?
Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not technical, but I would imagine something along those lines.
Huh. And then someone just compiled them all. I could see the cartridge.
So the cartridge, I would imagine the cartridge like enables developer mode.
Yeah. Okay.
And then that code is just to unlock.
I just knew that it was like input. Wizardry, and
yeah, it was wizardry.
Like, that was on. I was like, it was like when you. I don't know. It just felt illegal to do that.
Beast in chat drops a super chat. He's 33 months at Master Chief. Oh, crushing it. He says Wargroove on Switch was fun because we could have multiple games going and you could just take your turn when you had time. We got to jump back into some Wargroove.
Wargroove.
That's a great.
I would play that game.
I would play that at work when I was working in an office. It was the best times. Although it would be really frustrating when the person I was playing against would have a meeting or something, and I'd be like, bro, I'm waiting for your turn.
No, Wargroove was my secret weapon at the gym. I would go on the Stairmaster, and I would play Wargroove. I remember this. It was our old gym that was like over there.
Yeah.
Remember the old gym? I think I was on the Stairmaster for 90 minutes one time.
Yeah.
Which for a Stairmaster is a
for a Stairmaster, that's a long time.
And I remember like my body just like stopped. Like I didn't realize that I had been on so long. I had climbed to the moon, I swear. But Wargroove, like that's my secret weapon to exercise.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It is a fantastic game.
Yeah, I love that game. Real quick, I do want to say I saw John Wick 4.
Was he in chat?
No, I saw John Wick 4.
Oh, okay.
And I just want to say, I think it's the best John Wick of all time.
I hear that from multiple people.
And I never saw 3.
You did.
And so I was lost. I was lost for the first 15.
Sequential.
Yeah, I was lost for the first 15 minutes, and I was like, this movie's gonna suck because
But then he pulls out a gun.
The action,
don't spoil anything.
I won't spoil anything. Can I tell you the type of weapons that are used?
I don't want to know.
Okay, let's just say
you say the type of weapons they used were awesome.
They used a variety of weapons, so not just guns, but a variety of weapons. The action in this blows me. I haven't been this entertained, had the same feeling of entertainment in a movie since Top Gun. Like the most recent Top Gun. It's now it's not like I think Top Gun overall is a better movie, but I'm talking entertainment factor. Yeah. You're sitting there and you're like, whoa! Like even my wife, this was a date night, and my wife is like, whoa, yeah! Like you're like, it's this experience.
How cool!
It's cool. It's one of the coolest action movies that has come out in a long time, and that includes all of the past John Wicks,
except 3. Because you haven't seen 3 yet.
I haven't seen 3, which we're going to go back and see it so that I can now understand what was happening in the first 20 minutes. Although by the end, I get it. I get how it all tied together. But it blows me away.
Have you seen the videos of John Wick with lightsabers?
Yeah, you showed me last week.
Yeah,
those are hilarious.
Everybody should go check those out. They take a scene from John Wick and add lightsabers. It's I don't know how else to describe it because that's exactly what it is, and it ups it. Like he's on the motorcycle. That's fantastic. Everybody should watch that.
Dude, the movie.
You know what, though?
My only complaint on this John Wick is this. He recovers from some really big falls one too many times. Like, onto concrete. You're like, or like out of a third story when he hits the car. Boom. Okay.
Do you think he's a superhero, John Wick?
Oh yeah. Like Batman.
Well, Batman. Well, because if he's falling like that, he has to have some sort of like stamina or some sort of like.
He's an action hero.
Well, I
know,
a
superhero.
But the human body. You said yourself, the human body can't really take that kind of abuse. He's got one of his super ability is he can take a hit. Like he
definitely can take a hit. Clearly,
he's durable. That's it.
Yeah,
durability
is
set to 7, not 5.
Okay, when you watch this is not a spoiler. I'm just going to tell you there will be a scene. Remember this. Remember what I'm about to tell you.
Okay. Are you sure? Every time, David. Every time
I will not tell you.
This is not a spoiler.
I will not tell you anything that happens.
Literally spoiled. Like the worst one was the Spider-Man spoiler. When you even said this is not a spoiler.
I don't remember what I said, but I still am sticking to that. I don't believe that was a spoiler. Oh yeah, no, okay. The Spider-Man that there's 3 Spider-Mans in Spider-Man. That's not a spoiler. The commercials were showing that. That wasn't a spoiler.
Well, I don't watch commercials. I don't watch reviews. I go in.
That's your fault.
That's a you problem.
That's a you problem, not a me problem.
The movie is still in the theater.
No.
And you come out and slam dunk that.
No, here we go.
You even tell me you're like,
trust me.
You know what that's like? I'm not going to hit you. Boom!
Why did it hit you?
No,
I slapped you.
It's not a spoiler. Smack.
No. This really isn't. But there is a sequence, and I was talking about it with Barbara Blake. There is a sequence in this movie where they do something with the camera for the entire sequence, and it's a good 10 to 12 minutes that you will be like, yes.
I actually have heard that there's a fight scene in this that has been known. They've just told me. Actually, it was.
Is it this scene then that I'm talking about?
They have told me that it is the best scene they have ever seen as far as an action movie, and I have said to this person, "Well, what about the Daredevil hallway scene or the staircase scene?" And they had not seen that yet.
Oh, okay, I have seen that.
Yeah,
and I would say the effect it had on me with that Daredevil scene, it has that same effect. So it's at least up there. But here's the thing. I think standalone, if you were to see this sequence standalone, it would not be as cool.
So this is
It's because it's this sequence as a part of a whole that it's like, whoa.
I'm like starting to wiggle around in my chair because I'm getting antsy because that's the kind of stuff I like.
Dude,
I'm a photographer, you know what I mean?
You'll know exactly the part what I'm talking about when it pops up and it's
I know, yeah.
Oh, do you already know what it is then?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
But I don't want you to talk anymore.
Oh, okay.
Because you're getting closer and closer to the edge.
You'll know what it is when you see it and you'll be like, oh, this is what David was talking about. Yeah, that's cool.
I'll know. Other people have said you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. We have like Super Shocker in chat that's saying, don't talk about it, David. You're going to spoil it.
Stop talking about it.
No, yeah.
A CD Defenestrator. See, everybody knows exactly. Yep. He says, yep, I knew it. Absolutely. Yeah. Beast, the cinematography. Yeah, it's freaking cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
I imagine they just sat around a table, the creators, and we're like, okay, how can we take John Wick and make it the best John Wick we've ever made? And that was it. And they were like, and they took they're like, okay, well, he could punch like that. Or if we wanted to make it really awesome, let's have him punch like this.
Do you think, okay, I feel like, speaking of like creative tables, a table full of people that are...
I will go see that movie again with you.
Okay.
Just, even though I've already seen it.
In my experience, which is, this is like not related, so prep yourself. It's slightly related, but in my experience as a person that makes a lot of creative stuff for a lot of people, companies, etc., the more pots that are in, the more hands that are in the pot.
They
limit the amount.
It dilutes
awesomeness.
it. It dilutes it. Yeah, for every single time when there's too many hands in the pot, it dilutes it.
My idea on how this idea came about was some guy was like whistling while he's on the urinal, and then it just hits him. And he just stops, and he's like,
"Yeah, I bet you." Well, I bet you there. Feel like the top number of people you could have to make this effective is 3.
Okay.
3 with a guy over the top as final decision maker.
He's the one that woke up sweaty in the middle of the night and wrote it down really quick.
It's awesome, though. It is really cool.
And then he's like, "Don't tell anyone else, but this is what we're gonna do."
Everybody, hey, thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you, everybody in chat. Forever Ninja is here. I've seen him a few times. I've not been able to shout him out yet. Jank the Tank showed up late. But thank you, everybody. Thank you for all the subscribers, all the subscriptions, all the super chats. We really appreciate it. Jordan the Man will be back.
Yeah.
We'll be back next week. So we're looking forward to having him back. Have fun gaming. If you're experiencing gaming burnout, just do what we do. Suck it up.
No, don't do that.
Suck it up.
No, do the right thing and take care of yourself is what he meant to say.
Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.